Hey guys, and welcome to Gwent, the Witcher card game. My name is Jaggerous, and today I'm joined by Flake, who is the Deathwish expert, in my personal opinion, and he's going to be helping me out as I show you guys a couple Deathwish decks.
Well, it's nice to have the opportunity to sort of showcase what I have honestly been, putting all my effort into for a solid year, which is the Deathwish archetype.
Yeah, I've seen you all over Twitter being a proponent of this archetype, trying to get it to GM and stuff, whereas it's not really a deck that I've actually played, so I figured it'd be good to have Flake come on and kind of show you guys this deck, because I don't know it that well.
Well, it's my sincere pleasure. Like you said, you've sort of seen me championing this deck on Twitter and on Twitch for months and months and months, and I think that it's kind of in a spot where it's definitely viable for high-level play, high-level ranked play, and competitive play. Though it might be missing a couple key elements that we can talk about later, it does have the tools necessary, coupled with some solid piloting and experienced, an experienced pilot can definitely take this to Grandmaster and beyond.
And that's especially good because there is currently a faction challenge on the go at the moment. So having a competitive monsters deck is what people may be looking for. So this deck runs Dagon. I mean, we can see some synergies straight off the bat with like the Foglets. You've got Dagon, you've got Foglets, you've got Vadermaker. So you're going to be thinning those.
Absolutely. The deck itself, what I like about Deathwish is that many other decks in different factions really rely upon an efficient thinning system where you can kind of rely on getting key cards at the right time, whereas this deck, though it does have certain pieces that is really vital to the actual deck running and generating points consistently, the draws will never really completely put you out of the play. If you play this efficiently enough and smart enough where you can kind of plan your whole system. This one here is the Ciri Nova version, and this one was prominent probably maybe about a month or so ago, before it kind of fell out of the wayside because people started to figure out Ciri Nova herself versus just this particular version of a Nova deck. But I found that this one, this is a very short round 3 type deck, but it does have various options to sort of get that kill shot in round 3. It's not Ciri Nova dependent. I've played this deck to probably about, at the time, it was ranked 20 for sure, and I was pushing for GM, and I just ran out of time. I thought it had the potential, but this deck has a lot of kill options with it.
Yeah, so in terms of options for finishers, you've got your Nova. You've also got Brewess, and she actually resurrects 2 Bronze Deathwish units, which is fantastic because we have loads of Deathwish units in this deck. We have Archespores, we have Rot Fiends, we have Dows, so there's a lot of choice in terms of what you want to res. Another nice finisher actually is Ozril. Ozril I really value as a card, especially now that Silver Spies go into the graveyard, so you can actually eat the Frightener out of your opponent's graveyard.
Absolutely. What I liked about the recent update with the spy changes, now they're not doomed, so they kind of appear in your graveyard, is that it opened up the early renditions of this deck that I built was it had the Toad Prince into Manticore kind of thinning big play combo into the Ozril back into the Manticore, kind of getting that synergy going for some big bomb plays. But what I like about this deck is, like you said, the Brewess Ritual will bring back the optimal play will always be for 2 or 3 cards where you drop Ozril into a Larry, the Archespore, and a Dow. The Dow then becomes an engine piece for either a Griffin or a Cyclops for a 17 or 19 point play. So that in itself, in a short round, will definitely prove difficult for your opponent to catch up with. It'll definitely keep pace with any type of big plays they'll make, like an Olaf or even an opponent's Ciri Nova. For a bronze versus a Ciri Nova, you'll usually get at least easy equal value on it. But the thing about this is that a lot of people think that Ciri Nova is often an end piece, but what I found is that using a Ciri Nova in a smart way, for instance, what I would like to do early on would be dropping a Frightener wherein you're within 21 points of your opponent, so that you can pass on and then win on even cards with the Nova. Then you can bleed your opponent and then drop the two pieces later on, because you don't need golds to win in a short round. It does help, certainly, but card advantage in this is always a big deal, especially going into a short round 3. But you have options, like you said. Ozril is one, Ciri Nova would be another, Brewess plus a decent bronze trigger like Cyclops or Griffin. It's going to be fantastic. And the beauty of this deck, I find, is that with the Barbagazi piece, bleeding in round 2 will only benefit you later on by dropping 2 Barbagazi, or even using your Monster's Nest into a Barbagazi versus a Ghoul in round 2, knowing that your round 3 will just improve as you continue. People think that Monster's Nest is purely used for a Ghoul into a bigger play later on. While that does definitely warrant the points, sometimes it's in your best interest to bleed out an opponent's card in round 2 by dropping a Barbagazi and having that 6-point investment into the future while still costing your opponent a card. I like this deck a lot. It offers a lot of options, and this was one of the first decks that sort of got Deathwish back into prominence as a low tier 1, high tier 2 type deck, mainly because the Dow, a lot of people were afraid of killing it until they realized it was as important an engine piece as an Impera Enforcer, as a Skellige boat, or anything along those lines, like a Vrya Dragoon. It was as important a piece and as vital to get off the board.
Sounds good. Well, let's jump into a ranked game now, and we'll test this baby out, shall we?
Absolutely. This is where it all comes to fruition, where everything I said kind of makes either a lot of sense or will just be dashed to pieces. Now, again, this deck I find was definitely best when people didn't have Serenova completely figured out, and at the same time, they also didn't realize how important Dow was. No one wanted to give up a big card to kill it versus if it generated negative points. So in this case, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be tossing, obviously, the Foglet back. Now, we're going to probably go ahead and ditch the Brewis, because she's probably our least important card right now.
Makes sense.
In terms of, because we have the Ghoul.
And we can draw it with Gills.
Sorry, yes, we have the Gales. And let's go ahead and toss a Barbagazi.
Okay, we'll keep the premium one, just because we can. Can I
Absolutely,
point out that our opponent is called Butthurt? So...
So this might actually be in our best interest right now to just make sure that that name stays true to... Okay, interesting. Now, this is great for us because we have... we know what he's playing.
He's playing Imlerith.
And it's pretty... Exactly. So now in this case, the only thing that we can really do is to combat it is as soon as we drop Serenova, then that Imlerith becomes essentially a moot point. The good part is we can definitely kill his Imlerith with a Cyclops, so we got to keep that in our back pocket at all times.
So
now,
is the opener Dow, or do you prefer to go for the Fog and start thinning Foglets?
Well, one option that we can do is we can probably try to steal the round by dropping the Frightener and forcing a pass and playing Serenova to steal on even. I think that could be a vital piece. If not, we can always go down the 2 card, go into the next cards up by 2 cards.
We're going to draw a Foglet now. You ready? Here it comes. Oh, it wasn't. It was Vadermaker. I stand corrected.
So now, again, like I said, talking before about how Serenova... Right? Now, this is this was my favorite little bamboozle using this deck, is that a lot of people were never ready for it. And they were just easily passed. And you know how there's that whole coin advantage sort of Brewer abuse into Cleaver?
Yep.
Well, we have our own version, which is essentially this. So we
enough.
Drop that and we win.
Because effectively, Nova's all about winning a short round, and that's just what we've done. Whilst also being on even cards.
And the best part is now we can just toss back that stupid boat. It's not important. And we can just bleed. We'll steal a boat from him. We have all kinds of options here.
That's really cool. I like that. I like that as a strategy. People don't utilize Siri early, so... Oh, we got a Foglet. Feels bad.
So we got the Foglet. But which is okay, because now what this means is that we can use Vadermaker as a removal versus actually drawing out the Foglet. In this case, yes, definitely we'll drop in a... we'll drop in the... yes,
Archespore?
We can drop in the Larry.
Larry, yeah, that's... Larry is what... I guess you're responsible for them being called Larrys, right?
That would be true. And I am the father of the Larry. I'm the founding member of the Church of Larry. Basically, people ask, where did this come from? Where did this come from? When the new cards came out, and I was on my Bev stream, and I might have had a few adult beverages, I completely forgot what the name of the cards were, and this is what we settled on. I just slipped out. I called it Larry, and that was the end of it.
He killed it.
It would be probably in our best interest right now to go ahead and drop the Dow. We don't need to bring it back, mainly because the Dow is so important to us.
Oh, if he killed the Dow, we'd rather take that back, right?
Correct. Now, what we also would like to do is probably get to a point where he does not get the option of like we need to know, is he playing Necro Warriors to boost the to boost his, or what am I saying, to put more boats in his deck, in which case we sort of want to make sure that we can keep those boats out of his hand. We might want to keep that the Thunder to kill his Imlerith. In this case, we're just going to bleed and bleed and bleed. We'll probably want to what I would want to do in this case is actually to drop out the Griffin, because we want that Dow to survive as long as possible.
Oh, and this gives some extra 4s, such that we might get lucky, and he doesn't.
So now
get
it's
hurt.
a 1 in 3 of losing the Dow versus just it being gone and gone and gone.
So it's worth getting our Fog out at some point, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to make sure that he committed enough points where he couldn't just play around it. In this case, I wouldn't play it. I wouldn't necessarily. Actually, you know what? We'll play it on the. But we don't have any weather clear. Unfortunately,
he's gonna get in. I mean, we could try and high roll Gales for a buyer.
Yes. Now the fun part about Gales is that no matter what, it'll put the whatever card you don't choose on top of your deck. So the fun thing about Gales, people say why Gales instead of Royal Decree, because you can stack your deck for a short next round. So we'll put this down. A buy it.
Always high roll. Always high roll. I mean, we started with 4 golds in our hand. I feel like you're quite lucky.
Yeah. And now the best part about this is that we're absolutely 100% guaranteed to draw Brewis in round 3.
Yep. So we have our finisher.
Yeah. And he's probably gonna bust out more Frost. He likely has Caranthir, I think. But if it's an Imlerith deck, you can most likely count on things like his not the Brewis, the Wispus tribute into like a Mandrake or something like that. He'll have a Renew. He likely also has a Royal Decree to bring out the Sabbath.
So
okay.
How do you feel about Fog? Because I mean, we do have the option of Drowner on Monster's Nest as well.
Yeah.
If we
what I would do in this case is I'd likely put the Dagon on the back row, but Fog the front row.
Yeah, because it's got the most points on it. Makes sense.
And just so you know, the Flake luck kicked in when the Frost hit that Dow twice in a row.
Yeah, that was the opposite luck is that he got hit when there were all these juicy 4s. But
it's completely fine. We have a Slizzard to bring it back out.
Yeah, and if it dies, it does put 2 more 4s on the back. Okay, so we do know he's going to draw into a gold or a silver on the next round.
Correct.
We'll wait and see what this is.
Okay, so he's got his gold coming in next. We're still looking good. We still want to absolutely 100% bleed. And I know it looks silly, but our late round is going to be better than his late round, mainly because we have 2 Barbagazi that we can grab, which is likely what we're going to be looking at doing here. I'd go ahead and fish out the extra Dow with the Slizzard.
He's not dead yet. he's still
alive. So that's why this is a team effort, 100% a team effort. We'll just make sure that that's not a thing yet.
Do we want to play more weather?
The thing about it is that we want a way to get rid of his Sabbath if it does come out. Plus our Foglet's actually still in hand. So it might actually be okay for us to just drop the Foglet. I don't think that's...
Yeah. I don't think
it.
I'll put it on the Frost row.
No, I wouldn't put it on the Frost row because it's gonna be too crowded.
There's a party on the Frost row.
Yeah, so he's getting a little bit... Yeah, he's getting a little bit clever here because he's thinking that he's gonna crowd that row. I don't know what the play he's going to be making here. The other thing is we got to figure out what we're going to muzzle, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be a long ship.
Yeah,
we're not done pushing him here. There's absolutely no way that we're done. So, let's see.
I mean, if he does play the Imlerith, we have a big target now because we can just kill the Frightener with the Cyclops. So
correct.
I don't even feel like he's going to play the Imlerith at this point.
He's probably waiting for a late round. He definitely is waiting for a late round. But we'd have to bleed. This deck only works in our short round, and our short round is essentially going to probably be Wispus, the Tribute with a Cyclops, plus 2 Barbagazis going into late round. So we could actually just drop the Rot Fiend and likely just throw it on. I don't think it really matters. The middle row, the front row, either one is okay. Probably the front row, but...
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could make an argument for playing Vader Maker and playing Fog just to force him to play more cards this round. We are 32 points up at this stage, so he's in a little bit of an awkward spot.
But we are gonna, if this goes to a third round and it's more than 3 cards, we are absolutely 100% gonna lose.
Yeah.
We need to actually, our play is gonna be to carry over a short round with 2 Barbagazi and a Cyclops, because we're gonna draw the Brewis, she's gonna drop a Dow. We're gonna have 12 points going into the next round, plus the Larry, plus the Cyclops. We're gonna have tons of points. We're gonna beat up whatever he throws out there.
I don't feel like he has a long round. You know, his strategy. Oh, this is risky because this row is like full. They would have disappeared if the row was full. I was gonna say I think it's risky because, what is risky? I forget. Oh, he doesn't have a short round. Yeah, he doesn't have a short round. All his strategy is about this Wild Hunt synergy. You know, the Wild Hunt longships, the Wild Hunt navigators, and all that.
So here it comes, right? There he is, and he's gonna. That wasn't the best one. Now we can absolutely go ahead and how big is it?
It's 8. I'm gonna trigger the Rot Fiend with the Cyclops. Or maybe we should save that for this. That's only worth 6 actually. Yeah, you're right, because then we don't get fog.
I would just zap it down.
Yeah. Plus we have the backup this way. One thing I will say is, like, I was going to say we could have argued for playing Fog earlier, and we would have still been able to deal with that with the Cyclops into the Rot Fiend, but you don't necessarily know that you're going to definitely have that removal, whereas Vader Maker gives you guaranteed removal, which is pretty nice.
Yeah. So we can go ahead.
Is it worth waiting till he plays one more thing to take the boat?
Yes. I don't think we need to do it just yet. I think now is actually a good chance, good time to go ahead and Barbagazi the Dow. Now we gotta start thinking about our next turn.
Yeah.
Because our next turn, I think ideally is 2 cards. It's Cyclops and the Wispus in the short round.
Yep. Okay. So.
But now we gotta think about the amount of cards that we're down. We can let's go grab that.
Easy peasy.
Unfortunately, it doesn't take away any of the bonuses.
But it means he has 1 fewer Wild Hunt unit to start boosting.
Correct. So. And then what we can do is we're going to go ahead and likely... It's up to you now. Do you want to use that the Monster's S to eat something big and go into the next round? We'll see what we're up to here.
I think we're going to be we'd be having to... So you could argue that you could play Drowner, but the thing is, like, that's only 11.
No.
I think we're better to use the Monster's Nest and just get a Barbagazi.
Absolutely. We'll do that, and we'll just we'll eat something, and I think something big in case Imlith comes out in this round for some reason. So yeah, we'll just
to bring him back.
Let's eat the boat.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I was just having a look at kind of what's in here and if there's anything worth eating, but this doesn't really help us. And yeah, this just gives us a little bit of safety.
So now he needs to play essentially. Okay. So that's the thing, right? Like he has no late game. His late game was Imlerith, and I'm pretty sure he knew that he was kind of screwed. But that's how you play this. And I'm glad that we had the opportunity to show that sort of early round bamboozle of sort of dropping Serenova early to get the card advantage and just bleed out your opponent in round 2. Because late game, you do have options. We had the Monsters Nest if necessary. We had stacked the deck with Gales to guarantee that we'd have a gold draw on round 3. And then basically what we do is we tailor our hand and our bleeding strategy to make for the best possible 2 or 3 card round 3. And that's how that one worked.
Yeah, that was really, really consistent. And it's kind of very easy to see how the Deathwish strategy works. We saw the Dowls, we saw the Slizzard, we saw how to utilize Fog. And we played a Foglet that round, you know, like... It was all good. We got the bleed, and we won round 1 on even, which was insane. Right.
And the interesting part about this is that though there are you will get bricked. In that case, we did get bricked with the Foglet, but you can recover because the card that brings out the Foglet is not useless otherwise. The Vader Maker has other utilities, so even if it does come in, it's not a death sentence. You can drop it as a bleed tactic. You can also. For instance, if you have a bricked Slizzard, you have ways to open it up with the Cyclops or the Barbagazi to kill a unit, to then Slizzer out another copy of it, etc. So you're not completely handcuffed when you draw poorly.
Yeah, you can set up your own graveyard. Anyway, next up we have a Deathwish version that doesn't run Nova, and this was a deck built by Joe Snow?
Absolutely. This is a deck that was made famous by Joe Snow. He took this to Grandmaster last season, and I remember trying it out, and I loved Deathwish, and I was just having such a good time with my Nova deck that I didn't even think about looking at other opportunities with non-Nova versions. And he showed me this, and I watched him play a couple rounds, and then I took it to task, and I immediately went 9-0 on ranked with it, and had an absolute just joyful fiesta with it, because people kept thinking when he brought it out, people kept thinking Nova, but it Nova if they weren't paying attention to your deck count. But it was just fantastic because they would try really hard to eliminate your DAOs by Mandrake, by any all kinds of different options, and eventually at the end of the day, you just kept nailing him with more and more Deathwish units.
Yeah, so this deck has more. We're not running Nova, so we've got 3 Archespores, we've got 3 DAOs, we've got 3 Griffins, still got a couple Foglets, couple Slizzards, and a couple Cyclopses, and then the golds are quite different. We've got the Whispers here, which will allow us to draw the Mandrake and the Monster's Nest, so Mandrake, another new card in here. We've also got the Caretaker, which is a little bit different.
Right, and the Caretaker, I mean, a lot of the point generation from this deck is not going to come from golden bomb cards like Nova, let's say. What this is going to do is just really steamroll your opponent by maximizing the value of your bronze units, like a 17-point Griffin, a 19-point Cyclops, etc., and having those Archespores really tick down and generate damage over time to really get you ahead in a long round. Your opponent will then have to he'll be forced to play silvers and golds to kind of keep up. So cards like Muzzle, cards like Caretaker, these are all more tech cards that would otherwise be used for point generation, but in this case they're used for disruption. So caretaking a giant greatsword or muzzling an engine piece, these are really more so that your bronzes don't get overrun by their engines. So it's engine disruption in the gold situation, and your bronzes are just going to essentially go on and on and on to really get exceptional amounts of value as you go. And then late game, well, win round 1 overwhelmingly, and you can, contrary to the Nova version of this, is you can survive a long round because all your cards are just going to get better and better and better the more you have them.
Yep. Okay, so let's jump into a game then, and we'll see how this deck compares as we try out the I guess this is just a 25-card Joe Snow Deathwish archetype.
Absolutely. Joe Snow, again, took this to Grandmaster, so there is definitely a little pedigree behind it. And, Joe Snow's an excellent player. He's been on the top of the ladder many, many times. He knows what he's talking about. So the fact that he took a Deathwish unit, Deathwish deck, all the way to the top of the ladder really made me proud and gave the archetype itself a lot more visibility.
So Foglet gets thrown. Is there anything we want to blacklist before we throw the other Foglet?
There's nothing really, because we do have a nice spread. I would probably get rid of Mandrake because it's nothing that we definitely need. But the other thing I want to think about here is we have no way to really activate that Slizzard, right? Because we have nothing to actually consume or destroy, so we'd probably get rid of that as well. That's not bad. Again, there, we're perfect. This looks really good.
So we're against Kraken Crate, which is usually either veterans or greatswords. So we got greatswords this time around.
Right, and now this is going to be interesting because that 10-point greatsword is essentially ours. If we can drop fog on it, then we can steal it next turn.
Oh, that is true, and then it will boost up as well. So I like that play, and it also thins a Foglet. So if we get this fog on the board now, then out comes the Foglet. The greatsword gets hit.
Yeah.
And he was going to hit it anyway, so don't feel bad about hitting things to set up your plays.
Right. So in this case, we're spot on. We can grab that, and assuming he doesn't take it back, we're in a good spot. You can go ahead and DM. That is also part of it. That improves your drawing odds late game. All right. Again, I would not necessarily be all that opposed to keeping those things more or less at bay. I would drop the... So here are your options. Your option is you can drop the Dow.
Yeah.
The Greatsword's going to be down to 6, and then you can go ahead and
kill it with the Cyclops. Yeah, I like that as a strategy, because the only problem there is it means that we don't have Griffins.
Correct, and that's a problem. But we can activate Griffins on the Larry, but it's not ideal.
The alternative is we could use Vader Maker for Alzur Slender and just kill it.
Straight away, we can sort of... Yeah, we can do that. I don't see why not.
I mean, it means that we have a dead Foglet, but I think ultimately it's better to counter his strategy, and this way we still save our Dow for these Griffins, as we don't have the Slizzard to
and
pull
another good
another
option
one.
is going to be if we do win this round. So we're on even cards. We're ahead 16. If we do win this round, allowing him to bleed in round 2 is only going to make one of those great swords enormous, meaning our Osroll gets immense value and denies his strategy. So in this case here, I wouldn't be too opposed actually to dropping a Larry and then killing the greatsword with the Larry, and then we have the Dow and 2 Griffins to keep pace in terms of actual point generation.
Yeah, I like that better.
And that's fine. So we'll go ahead and yeah.
Oh, poor Larry. He lasted for one whole turn.
But it was a glorious turn.
A glorious turn in which he killed a man holding a giant sword.
So we've killed how many? We've killed 3 giant swords, or we've essentially eliminated.
Yeah, because he resurrected that one.
2. Yeah, we've killed 2 and we've stolen 1. So he's really kind of a little bit probably on edge here, and this is our walk away, which is fantastic. Here. So we're gonna win. We're 30 points ahead on even cards. We'll just take a walk here.
Yeah, I think this is where you leave. He's not gonna get 32 points in, or 30, however many we need because of the fog.
No.
In one card.
He's strengthening that one boat, but who the hell?
Yeah, and it feels so bad, like losing a round like that when you've played Giant Boar of the Sea. You're not getting the strengthening value, and we kind of just bullied him out.
And I will say this, I never feel bad about kicking the crap out of a Skellige player, but in this case, we can absolutely go ahead and toss the Mandrake. Because otherwise we have our...
oh, we have a dead, we'd have
tribute.
a dead...
our tribute gets nothing, so...
Ritual.
That's fine, and we can get a Larry with that, so life is good.
So I think,
let's go ahead and actually...
Yeah, I was going to say, I think this round is a good one to push him, because we have a good long round.
Yeah, so let's drop a Dow. No. Oops.
That's
yeah,
okay.
That. Mainly because we need that for a Cyclops to kill another greatsword.
He took our Dow. That was my premium Dow. I'm so offended.
Oh, that's the other thing. It's the strategy should always be to drop your non-premium Dows until you see that you've played Muzzle, because you do not want to give him any bling that he should not deserve.
So another Dow?
Yep, that sounds good. And he played a spy, so there's no way that he can get so far ahead that he can just casually drop a spy on us either.
Yeah.
He's gonna be ruining our own Dow now, unfortunately.
Oh no.
It's okay. It's not the end of the world.
It feels like the end of the world. He was my friend.
The problem is, in this case, is we do not have...
We haven't got a graveyard set up for tribute.
Correct. So what we can do
not
is
for tribute, for ritual, yeah. I mixed them up.
We can just go ahead and toss in a Larry out there and then start hitting it with Griffins and go from there. But we absolutely 100,000% need to bleed him here because his engine pieces are going to absolutely kill us.
Yeah. And we can actually Mandrake this with the Tribute, because Tribute pulls an organic card. So I'm not remotely bothered by this, although he is going to kill the Dow.
That's fine.
But what if we kill the Dow first? Oh, we didn't kill the Dow.
Yeah, that thing kind of probably hit the worst possible
Yeah, the worst target. The Mandrake target, you know. We were talking about your luck earlier, and now the tables have turned.
No, this is Flake luck in its best and most delicious way. But we did get that's 2 games with Deathwish that we've won on even in round 1.
Yeah.
In the most delicious of ways.
Modern Freyr is patient.
All right, that's fine.
No insult.
We don't care if that gets bigger. It's not the end of the world, purely because of the fact that we are going to eat it, and it's going to be the best thing since sliced bread.
The only thing is, if he wins this round, he'll have first play. So then, are we going to eat it?
Well, we have 2. Otherwise, we have other big options. We're going to have to eat it at some point, but we'll see.
So, Griffin?
Yes. We got to get rid of these pieces.
Oh, come on!
There's the Flake luck.
Oh, and he's got his 2 little Dows. These are not lesser Dows, because that's mean. Like, just because they're smaller doesn't make them any more capable as a Dow. Exactly. Like. So
I call Dows Davids, and I call those things Daves.
Oh, because they're like Dave, but smaller. Oh, David, but smaller.
So there's Larry and there's David, which is kind of why my subscriber theme is the Curb Your Enthusiasm theme, because I play with Larrys and Davids all the time. I have such a fondness for Larrys and Davids.
The mother goddess, she giveth and taketh away.
And again, this is all essentially meaningless as long as we have a play to stay ahead of him.
So are we wanting... Oh my god, what is this luck? You shoot the thing that's going to heal. What a great plan.
Now, how badly do you want to test your luck here? So we have 2 options. Option 1 is we could I think we should go ahead and Mandrake something. I don't know what that could be, unfortunately.
Surely.
But the option.
I was gonna say.
Option.
Do we want to play a Barbagazi, and then we could Mandrake that?
Yeah, because the other option is we have such fat single targets. Actually, you know what? Yeah, let's go ahead. We're gonna Barbagazi.
Because if we Barbagazi, we could Mandrake our Barbagazi, and then we have 12 points of carryover.
Correct. That's good.
So what do I want to eat? Not Larry.
You definitely, absolutely want to eat Larry, because you might hit the greatsword. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's gonna be delicious.
Is this what you're talking about? Luck?
One time.
One time. Never lucky. Oh.
It was so...
It hurts.
Okay.
It hurts my soul.
Now we'll see, because we might actually fish out a coral. This would be his coral turn.
Oh, but if we Mandrake it, he
better.
might then coral. He's only got 1 gold left.
And in this deck, I mean... Uh-oh, okay, so here comes the...
Runestone.
Patented Flake high roll.
It's gonna be Jenga.
It's gonna be... something.
Oh. So, do you think we should Mandrake the Barbagazi?
I think that's a prudent play, to be honest with you. Because there's nothing that he's gonna have that Mandrake's gonna not be worth only 6 points for, right? So it's an investment play. It is what it is.
Yeah, and he can't pass because we're only
coral,
4 behind.
Yeah, if we fish out a coral, we fish out a coral. Caretaker would be probably the best thing right now to grab.
Yeah. It's fine, he doesn't have coral. I believe in the heart of the cards.
The heart of the cards.
Yep. It's time to Deathwish. Oh god.
But Jaggerous, you see just the pure joy of this entire archetype. The only thing that it's missing really is I think that Dagon is such a placeholder leader for this. It's really missing something that speaks to Deathwish in terms of synergy. Dagon is just the most powerful and offers a thinning option.
Recon.
So
Ooh.
that probably bodes well for us.
Got a bad case of
Let's get out of this. Let's get out of this round.
Oh, sincerely, because we have a 12-point lead on him. Or sorry, 7-point lead.
Yeah, 7-point lead.
7-point lead plus that, plus an 18-point drop.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, the only thing is he might, if he plays his res first, like if he, sometimes they predict the odds roll. Sometimes they don't, and then you eat it, and then you BM thanks. But sometimes they play the odds roll. Oh, we got a fiend.
That's so Shadow or Maileron.
Maileron. But I don't think we can throw it because of Foglet.
Right, and it's 11 points plus a decent Larry, so we just got to make sure that it's timed well, so that if it hits a jerk face, then we're not.
It doesn't help him, yeah. A jerk face.
I just really despise Skellige.
So does he go for the res here? Yeah, he does. Feels bad. Is there anything we want to eat? Wait, there's a 9. What have we got in our graveyard? An 11. Oh no, we got 12. We can. Oh, we got 13. Look at us go.
Right, so we've got options. He might have possibly drawn, you know, something better. Is that extra couple points? I mean, now we're taking taking a flyer on Maileron into
Yeah,
so
I think we should go Maileron first. This is worth more, but it might hit the dude.
That's fine. It's gonna be.
We're gonna high roll. We're gonna high roll.
Yeah, because he's gonna have at least 4 bodies on the board, I would imagine.
Well, what's he got? I'm scared.
Told you it'd be worth
Captain.
5 bodies.
Oh, Jiminy Cricket. Oh, so he's hit it anyway.
That's fine.
Oh, always lucky.
And then we just crush him with it.
We just crush his hopes. How many points do I need to BM win? This is the question.
5. Oh, okay. So let's eat his unit. Oh, I was gonna say.
The BM win is winning by 1 point, but you have to work out like how these are gonna trigger. And it's too much with the Larry and the great swords. Like the math was not there for me, but you know, if you want to be extra BM, you gotta eat.
There's too much. There's a resetting thing. There's a Larry. There's an injuring and a boosting. It was a whole bunch of math from a different dimension that I wasn't prepared for.
Yeah, like who wants to do maths? Like, why would you play Gwent? Come on.
That's why I graduated from political science, so that I can essentially dictate who does the math. So it's not me.
That was fun though, Deathwish. It's a very fun deck to play, which I always think is important. Like, there's a lot of competitive decks I find really boring, but this one, it did feel like fun. And with the faction challenge on, so if you're looking for a monsters deck, we've shown you a couple options, depending on what you want to do, something more kind of Deathwish focused, or if you prefer the kind of Nova finisher, or opener, as seemed to be the case when we played. Then you have the Flake version and the Joe Snow version.
Absolutely. And the best part about this is that it's not as linear as a lot of decks. Like you said, some of the most competitive decks seem very straightforward or boring. This one has a lot more different angles of play or lanes to take from the get-go. You don't necessarily have to make the same 3 opening moves, like for instance with Consume. With Consume, it's Necker into Necker Warrior, into Vran, into Slizzard, into God knows what kind of thing. In this case, you have different you have reactionary plays, you have proactive plays, you have various ways to win. With the Nova option, you do have different finishers or different win conditions. With Joe Snow's version, you have an out-muscling element of a lot of tempo plus finishing options, so there's a lot to do here.
Yeah, I think both decks are kind of fun in their own right, and it's been really cool to actually try out Deathwish, because it's an archetype I think I was a little bit scared of. You know, it seems a bit kind of scary to play if it's not something you've ever even experimented with, compared to some of the other decks, which I think are a bit more straightforward.
Oh, it's trust me, it's one of those things. Don't knock it till you try it. I've been on this horse for since my goodness, since for months and months and months, let's just say. And it only sort of started getting really sweet and viable with the Nova element, kind of a little bit as a crutch, and then Joe Snow sort of figured out the non-Nova variant, which is great. But it's not quite there to be the easy peasy Grandmaster deck, but you never know what the future holds, and I really have high hopes for this archetype.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see maybe a Deathwish leader or something to just kind of a couple cards just to tie the whole thing together into a nice little bundle would be pretty nice.
It's definitely a leader that this deck is missing. Dagon is not the right option. It's just the most fitting right now.
Okay, well that has been Deathwish, and if people want to find you, Flake, in terms of Gwent and that sort of content, where can they find you?
Let's see. Well, I am on Twitch at twitch.tv/watchflake. I'm also on Twitter at the same extension, watchflake. I do host a bi-weekly, sometimes tri-weekly podcast called The Coin Flip. You can catch me there. I am part of Team Top Deck, so there's a lot of my content there as well. Co-host of the Commander's Horn podcast, and doing a whole bunch of stuff. But it was honestly my sincerest pleasure, Jaggerous, to spend this time with you to show off my favorite archetype of Gwent.
Dude, you are super busy. But yeah, if you guys have enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you want me to collaborate with any other Gwent people, then let me know in the comments. And similarly to Flake, I'm on Twitter at Jaggerous, and you can find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Jaggerous. Thanks for watching. Any closing statements?
Not really. I guess just to say that give it a shot and you might be surprised. It does take practice, but all the best things do to be successful.
I was surprised. Well, thanks for watching, guys, and hopefully I'll catch you in the next video.